I've been fascinated by how slowly people around the world are waking up from the pandemic. I know before the pandemic hit, I was almost with a cramp in my stomach, worried how fast everything was going. It was almost as though people, especially in the well-educated and developed world, were running faster and faster and faster so that they couldn't focus in depth on any moment and just sink and rest and be nourished by that. They were just under such piles of demands and could not go fast enough. And it was my concern was with the nomadic tribes I work with, pastoral, and various populations who were having to change from a lifestyle they had kept not only since birth, but as a collective culture for thousands of years. And suddenly, in order to survive and not be moved further and further into inhabitable lands, they were having to learn Western skills, reading, writing, basic English or Mandarin, having to learn skills quickly, and while learning those skills, understanding the tick, 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 faster, 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 tick, tick, tick of modern society. And with that change, I saw that element of depression, even suicides within nomadic and pastoral tribes that I had never experienced. When I say never, I mean literally never. One father who had to sell his children when I arrogantly was furious at him and thought he should know exactly what happens to them, and yet had to do that in order to keep the rest of his family and clan surviving. That was it. That was all I knew in terms of personally. This isn't scientific, just my own experience over the past 40 years of encountering suicide personally in the high-risk communities I was working with. I certainly had encountered it within the street children and within my own culture in the U.S., in Europe. I encountered it and elsewhere, and too often. But I hadn't encountered it amongst those trying to survive physically, literally. So that change surprised me, and I understood at one level, and at another level I don't yet grasp, that this going faster and faster and get more and more done, hurry, 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 has a mental effect, creating depression and a feeling of worthlessness, because obviously our actions never make us feel alive. Our actions come out of us feeling alive and help keep that feeling going, but it is only by appreciating the moment in each moment as perfect that we can let go, release all the demands, and feel that aliveness and have that energy to do what we want to do in life. So that really was striking me, that the more people who are at risk and in the horrible pain of starvation, an extremely painful way to die, your organs shut down. It is painful. That those at high risk for abuse, physical abuse, trafficking, for nutritional survival, I didn't find suicide. And that's always fascinated me. And yet in societies where there are huge demands on one's image and how people judge you, and that is what makes you happy or not happy, and feeling you're okay or not okay, the suicidal rate is much higher. That I knew. But here's the thing. the pandemic seems to have slowed everything and everyone down. And it's like remember in graduate school how after your exams, you couldn't move. You often got sick. Whatever flu was going around, and even if it wasn't going around, you caught it. And there you were with the headache and vomiting and chills and fever. And you're saying, why? Because you've suddenly slowed down. And the body says, I'm so mad at you, and I'm just going to make you have to not move. In any case, it's kind of like that. And getting our centers to restart, even though the children need everyone, they just keep saying, well, the children aren't in need. And of course they are, very much so. But when you're tired and exhausted and you've slowed down, it's like coming back from vacation where the hardest thing is to start working again. Boy, is this going on around the world. Even with the children who, if they keep getting such bad grades in school because they don't have parents who can help them, and they have to work outside of school, and they're just tired and overwhelmed, and they feel stupid and it's their fault, and they drop out. It's happened so often, especially in Indonesia. It happens so often. Even those children are in this malaise, in this slowed down fog. And while a part of it concerns me because it's still so slow, the other part of me feels like it's the world, the planet, the globe kind of shrugging and shaking like a dog does or a cat before it lies down and goes to sleep. And it just kind of repositions and goes to sleep. A lot of that is going on around the globe where people are having a hard time getting back in focus and getting their gears going. And when they try, they end up depressed. It's really fascinating how much this is going across the cultures. It's both good and bad. I've been very concerned for how quickly nomadic cultures that have existed as they've existed and pastoral for thousands of years are suddenly having to change the very way in which they think, and the concept of time becoming an element that ticks their every moment, where it was instead survival based on your ability to have an excellent sense of smell and feel the ground and the earth, and to get along with each other because there's nowhere else to go. It's quickly they're going into this A to B to C, very linear thinking, don't think about anything else, which of course they can't survive if they do that within the lifestyle they've always lived. And yet to survive at all, they have to learn English enough and be educated enough to protect themselves. And so that transition and seeing depression I haven't seen in the previous 40 years has concerned me. So part of me is it's absolutely fine and needed that people are so slow in starting and getting going. And the other part of me is saying, time to wake up, folks. Come on. Time to wake up. We need to start classes more than just on weekends and back to during weekdays, and we need to get GLD at the centers living again. And so that's our focus, and I don't want to shove people into it. I think there's some health in the slowness that developed during the pandemic. I truly do. And at the same time, we need to slowly wake up and get moving, because, and that's the important part, is why. Because it's comical, this belief, and it's happened before, amongst even the children that have grown up at the center. They start thinking, oh, everyone's okay. And they don't really need us. Things have changed, Mom. It's okay. And of course, because I also do the children's rescues and works on the other side, I know, no, that isn't the case. In fact, parts of it. Trafficking in other parts are worse than ever and under more layers than ever. So it's nothing is urgent. Nothing is, no, but we need to focus and time to wake up bit by bit, time to wake up and get the centers bit by bit without stress, serving the populations we so love. Once again. So that is what I was supposed to speak about. I was supposed to speak about the pandemic sleepiness. And oh my goodness, everyone's snoring. It's taking a long time. And I think the reason it's taking a long time to get people riding their bikes and soaring on their bikes again and feeling the wind is because they were pedaling too hard uphill constantly before. So that makes sense. If you individually are feeling still that foggy, slow, I can't wake up to life, so to speak. Be gentle with yourself. There are times that life feels so vibrant and layered and delicious, and there are times where you're trying to walk through air that feels like thick mud. And so give reverence and pay attention to that, while at the same time just lovingly talking to yourself. Come on now, let's see, what's the message you're trying to tell me, my body, in your exhaustion? And here are the things I want to be able to feel excited and enjoying doing some of these things again. So let's see if we can try and ask ourselves why we can't if we can't. Because it also feels good to be on that bike with the wind and the delicious smells going through us and pedaling. At the same time, being on the bike and pedaling never defines who we are. The environment we're riding that bike through, so to speak, the bike being various goals and things we love, never define who we are. Who we are is only defined within yourself by loving yourself. There is no other way. I don't care how many words you use or books you use or religions or philosophies or anything else. In the end, there is no other way. So that's number one. And I'll ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding. Morning time. It's your morning time. Time to wake up, world. Sleepy, sleepy world.